Well, thank you all for being here. And this is for Mr. Danduran, the first question. In your written testimony, you cite an example of a complaint from an 80-year-old woman from St. Louis, our ranking member's state, who received an unwanted call for a back brace paid for by Medicare. We've heard about these calls from seniors organizations, physicians, from folks in Indiana who have been on the receiving end of harassing phone calls, from medical equipment suppliers offering medical equipment like back braces that they neither want nor need. And the suppliers use aggressive tactics to persuade seniors into ordering unnecessary items at Medicare's expense. We have an obligation to protect the privacy seniors have and also to protect taxpayer dollars. Can you talk more or a little bit more, you know, in your position as Deputy Attorney General, about the trends you're seeing in regards to calls like these?
I would, and to sort of talk about what Senator Kane said and Senator McCaskill as well, funding is a big problem, and if we're going to cut funding for enforcement, we're going to have more of a problem. Our office operates on 15% less than we did when we started in 2009, but when we increased the ability to register your cell phones, we increased the number of phones we're responsible for from 2 million to 4 million with no more folks to deal with it. So they know that. And the trends are just, I think, somewhat, Senator Collins, away from landlines towards cell phones now that they're getting this figured out how to get to these cell phones, and it's going to mushroom and mushroom because so far we still get a lot of complaints, more complaints really, from the folks that have registered their landlines. So the trends are they are getting ahead of technology and they are really working on people's cell phones, even with the sophistication those cell phones have to try to block these
Well,
things.
if you look at the federal level here, what's the one or two things that we can do to help you?
There is a no-call working group that the feds have right now, and all the states that want to join that do, and they stay abreast of all of the cutting-edge things that are available to use. So I think that any help that we can receive, Senator McCaskill's bill that she's looking at that I haven't seen yet, but hopefully is going to help with this. Those sort of things will be helpful, but I have to give credit as I can to the feds for all the assistance they give to us states as it is.
Ms. Blaze, you are a tireless bulldog on this issue. And as you look at this, you know, one of the things that has struck me is when a caller ID comes up and displays FBI. You know, that means so many things to people in our country. And when you saw that, I'm interested, how did you know that when you saw FBI that was a scam?
I didn't know when I saw FBI. I picked up the phone and answered the call, and it did not take me 15 seconds to figure out that it was a scam, because the man said, well, we're conducting this investigation, and your name popped up. And I went, why would and it was a drug investigation. And I said, sure, my name's going to pop up on a drug investigation. So I basically told him he was a fraud and hung up, because that's the way I felt about it. Of course, I had second thoughts. And I looked up the area code, and it was a Washington, D.C. area code, and I thought, oh my goodness, what if I just really screwed up? So I called my local office at the FBI and said, tell me about this. Do you have any record of any of this? And they said, it's totally a scam, and you did exactly the right thing.
If you had one or two recommendations for folks around the country, as you looked, you've gone through a lot of this, what would be the one or two things that you would most say to them here's what you really need to do when this kind of stuff starts? Number one, not pick up the phone.
Not pick up the phone. Do not press one. Do not press two. Don't do any of those things. If you can not pick up the phone, then that's what you should do. But too many of us have to know what's on the other end of that line. You want to know what's there. What if it's, I have friends who are private callers who want their phone numbers not to display. So you don't know when you see private caller if that's your friend in New Zealand or if that's somebody calling to scam you or to try to sell you something. So you're tempted to at least to pick up those unknown callers or private caller things just to find out what it is. As soon as you know what it is, hang it up. I have a friend who will not refuse to answer those. She will always pick up the phone, no matter how many times I tell her not to.
Thank you very much, and Madam Chair, right on time, I might
You
add.
are indeed. You get a gold star.